What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Too Pop to Handle. I am your host, Andrew Nucatola, your pop culture best friend, and as always, I hope you guys are having a fabulous week. There's been a lot going on this week. We've got E. coli at McDonald's, people are getting served Coke with their pizza. There's a lot to swallow, but I have to say the biggest pill for me to swallow this week, or the hardest pill, I guess, is the complete miscommunication and lack of unity in when Halloween was, because I was fully ready to come on here this weekend and recap celebrity Halloween costumes, celebrity Halloween parties, give the whole rundown, really give spooky vibes this week, and then wrap up Halloween by this weekend. But it appears that I guess we're celebrating Halloween in November this year. We're celebrating it the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd. To me, that just feels weird. It's definitely confusing because Halloween does fall on a Thursday. So, I guess if we were in college, Thursday is such a good going out night. And, you would do Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But, to me, I'm sorry, November 1st comes and I am, ready for Thanksgiving. I am ready for Christmas. It is complete shift in my mindset and in my brain after Halloween. So I am not even I don't even have Halloween on the radar after Thursday, but I guess next week's episode we will be chatting about Halloween costumes and all of that jazz, which is fine because we may need, some lighthearted content, but we'll get into that. But speaking of the weekend, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you had a fabulous one. It is back to summer. It is spring 4.0 here in New York. We are sweating again. We are wearing t-shirts. It is it really is the most bipolar weather you will ever experience. I don't know what the fuck is going on. It is what it is. But that being said, my weekend was fabulous. I did kick it off in a very exciting and Too Pop to Handle way, I will say so myself. I got to see Halsey at her The Great Impersonator album release show, which was at the Brooklyn Paramount, which before we even talk about Halsey, if you have not been to a show at the Brooklyn Paramount, make it something to add to your list because it is genuinely probably the most beautiful venue I have ever been to in my life. It is so stunning. When I saw Charlie back in June for the Brat release show, it was there. And it was I walked in and I was holy shit, this is insanely gorgeous. And then I was in the back for that show. This time I walked around. I went to the front. There's a bar at the front. I walked up that way and I was standing in the actual pit. And the view from closer to the stage and looking at the entire venue was stunning. It is such a beautiful venue. It's so unique. It just has cool, the lighting at the top. They have fountains on the wall. It is just such a gorgeous venue. So if you ever got the opportunity to go to a show at the Brooklyn Paramount, do not pass it up because even if the show isn't great, the venue is enough to make it a perfect night. But that being said, Halsey was fantastic. We're going to chat about the album a little bit later during our Drew Releases segment, but just talking about the show in and of itself, it was phenomenal. I've seen Halsey a few times. I think 3 or 4 times I've seen her. She always puts on a great show, but this was so incredible. It was so much fun. She did through the eras of the album, so 70s through the early 2000s, and kind of did new interpolations and new versions of the songs that we all know and love and sprinkled in some of the great impersonator songs as the show went on. It was just such a cool concept and she did such a good job. She sounded great. She looked great. It was such a killer night. It was so much fun. So definitely will be getting tickets to the Great Impersonator Tour whenever that is. I'm assuming it's next summer. That's what she kind of was alluding to over the weekend, but just a 10 out of 10 incredible show from Halsey. I'm very excited to chat about her album in just a little bit. But before that, there's some big things going on in the coming week. If you are watching the video and you can't tell by my shirt, obviously we have Miss Kamala Harris on the shirt. By this time next week, we will have a pretty clear shot of who is going to be the next president of the United States, which is just both exciting and terrifying at the same time. I'm getting deja vu to 2016 when we all thought Hillary was going to sweep it and Trump ended up winning. And I'm just I'm crossing every finger, every toe, and just we need to get this orange piece of shit as far away from politics as possible. Please make sure you are voting. Please make sure you are voting blue. I understand maybe you don't agree with every single policy that Kamala is chatting about or campaigning for. There is just no world in which voting for Trump is a better option than voting for Kamala. There is no world in which voting for a third party right now, for writing somebody in on the ballot. I'm seeing so many people posting online that they're writing things in and just writing stupid bullshit on the ballot, which is not you're voting for Trump by doing that. By throwing away your vote and not voting for Kamala and Tim Walz and writing something in, and Obviously, like, the people are writing Free Palestine, which I could not agree with more. That is something that we need Kamala to take way more seriously and like to completely call for a ceasefire, get that all wrapped up and just like nip that in the fucking ass as soon as she's in office. That being said, writing anything on your ballot that is not filling in the circle next to her name is essentially throwing your vote away and voting for Donald Trump or helping him win. There's all these margins going around of like when people voted third party or wrote somebody in on their ballot in 2016, that was what separated Trump and Hillary from winning within those states. And we all know how that ended up. So please, like, take this election seriously. I'm 90% positive everybody listening to this has their head screwed on straight and like understands what I'm saying. But like if you have friends or family who are like not sure how they're going to vote, if they're undecided, like please do your part and talk to them this week and be like, hey, this isn't like, this is essentially like life or death. Obviously not to that extent, but like there's a lot on the line right now. And we need to get people out. We need people to vote for Kamala. We need people to support it. We need to just like get to the polls, cast our votes, do your thing. Early voting is going on, I'm pretty sure, in every state now, if not every, like I would say 90% of states. And if not, next Tuesday, November 5th is election day. So get to the polls, talk to your friends. Like we are in crunch time right now. And yeah, we just, hopefully by the time I talk to you guys next week, we will have a female president ready to be inaugurated into office. That being said, I am going to push next week's episode to Thursday. So I'm going to record Wednesday night. So I know if I record on election day on Tuesday, I will be so distracted while I'm recording and like want to keep checking all the polls and like see what's going on. Like I know I cannot sit down and yap for an hour into a microphone on election day. So I'm going to record on Wednesday. Episode will be up on Thursday. So, we will see what the episode holds for next week. Hopefully, I wore my Kamala shirt today. I'm manifesting a very positive episode next week, but we will see. It is really in our hands. Like we need to get out and vote. We need to convince our friends and family to vote. We need to get to the fucking polls and vote this woman into office. And that being said, let's move on to our pop culture moments from the week that were just too pop to handle because they kind of flow perfectly into this conversation because Miss Beyoncé, Giselle Knowles-Carter, and Kelly Rowland showed the fuck out for Miss Kamala Harris over the weekend at the Houston rally. I cannot. And before we even get into it, I know a few weeks ago I was saying, don't let a celebrity decide your vote. Stop depending on celebrities to like tell you who to vote for. And that being said, I still stand by that. I do not think that you should let a celebrity swing who you're voting for. I don't think you should let a celebrity speaking up about a certain candidate, things like that. You should be voting for the people who you truly feel have the most value and are protecting your rights, which in this case is Kamala Harris. But as somebody who is already clearly ready to vote for Kamala and ready to go, seeing my number one favorite artist and person in the world, Beyoncé, coming out at her rally and fully finally endorsing her, yeah, bitch, we're fucking celebrating. Like I was at the Halsey show when she went on stage, and when I tell you I was watching the live stream during the Halsey concert, and I am not one usually to like, I would never disrespect an artist who, like, if I'm at a concert watching something live, I would never do that. But when I saw that Beyoncé walked on that fucking stage, I was like, I am so sorry. I think Halsey would understand. I think she gets it because that was like, it was an earth-shattering moment for the girls, the gays, and the theys. So let's get into it because it was a lot. Like I said, it was Beyoncé and Kelly. A lot of people were like, where the fuck is Michelle? Where is this Destiny's Child reunion when we need it? Michelle is booked and busy. She is currently starring in Death Becomes Her on Broadway. So it wasn't like they left her out. It wasn't, they didn't leave her luggage somewhere as, the Destiny's Child's tales do go with some past members. She is booked and busy doing her thing. We all know where the three of them stand. So that being said, Beyonce's speech was so incredible. She has such a way of just like commanding a room and really be like, she is such a good public speaker and is able to just like really get her point across and like speak so well. She is so confident in everything she says. During her speech, she went on to say that I am a mother who cares deeply about the world my children and all of our children live in, a world where we have the freedom to control our bodies, a world where we're not divided. Imagine our daughters growing up and seeing what's possible with no ceilings, no limitations. We must vote and we need you. And I just like that right there, like any woman who is considering who to vote for right now is like, what more do you need to hear? Do you not want to see like your daughters, your nieces, your friends' kids grow up in a world that is like limitless for them? Like I'm not even a woman, and I'm like, I need to see this for the next generation of women, and that is what we're going to get in a Kamala Walls administration. I just want to fill you guys in. This is not going to be political the entire episode. This is just like the first thing that came up. We're going to completely flip the script in a few minutes, but it just fit too perfectly, and I felt wrong not encouraging you to vote within the first few minutes of the episode. So not going to be politics the entire time, I promise. But let me just chat about Beyonce for a minute because that is my bitch. Also, sorry if you can hear the sirens outside. New York City, it happens. That being said, Kelly also had a fabulous speech. She said, Houston, you've already had a hand in creating destiny, so do what you do and let's do this thing again. It's just like seeing the two of them come out together. Obviously, they have been riding for each other and in the industry together since they were teenagers, and they have seen so many, as women of color and women in the music industry, like those ceilings have been so hard for people to break through. And I feel like for so long, women in music were kind of, got the shitty end of the stick, and like, people didn't take them seriously. And, there was a lot of battles that female artists had to fight for years. And I feel like now we've gotten to a point where, like it is kind of like, not to quote Katy Perry, but we're kind of in a woman's world when it comes to music. And obviously there are bigger causes in the world than who is, in the music world. But like hearing from women of color who have been in this game forever, they've been famous since they were teenagers and like have watched so many different people get elected. Beyonce's been very vocal about her politics forever. I mean, she performed at the Obama inauguration. She performed at the Clinton rally back in 2016. Like she is very vocal about who she's voting for. Always, she's very, we knew where she stood and we knew where she was leaning for this. I mean, the first time Kamala made an appearance as a presidential candidate, she walked out to Freedom by Beyonce. So like from the jump, we knew where she stood, but I think having her come out of this rally as a surprise, especially in Houston, we all know she loves Houston down. It was just such a way to kind of like sign off on this final week of the election and just be like, all right, we need to kick this in high gear and like get this shit on a roll. I'm equal parts excited. I'm equal parts nervous. I'm just ready for this week to fly by so we can like get to next Tuesday and Wednesday and like finally celebrate Kamala Harris becoming the president. On the other hand, we had Trump, who obviously was, he was in my neck of the woods this weekend, which I'm not thrilled about. I definitely am looking a little sideways at Madison Square Garden, but he had a lot to say at his rally, as did his, circus clowns and the band of thieves that he carries around with him. He made the comment about, oh, they're having a dance party with Beyonce, and obviously he's just like bitter and jealous. And like to see a grown man throw a fit on a stage the way that he does is so, it's crazy to me that people can watch that and be like, yep, he is fit. He is going to be the next president. Like, that is who I want to run our country for the next 4 years. Like, watching him on stage just ramble and like bitch and moan. And like, all he does when he's on stage is like throw shitty low shots and low blows at Kamala and like everybody who endorses her. Like, he doesn't speak any substance. It's almost admirable that somebody can stand on a stage for 1 to 2 hours and just ramble and have absolutely zero substance to any of the words that they are saying. I can't. Don't even get me started on like the whole comments that the people made about Puerto Rico during his fucking rally. Like, to come to New York and get up there and shit talk Puerto Rico. Are you fucking, well, they are stupid. Like, what were you thinking? Not let alone it being completely racist and just like completely out of hand. Do you not know how many proud Puerto Ricans there are in Manhattan, in New York City, in New York State, just in the United States itself? Like, who says something like that? Like, it is insane to me that people can conceptualize these thoughts and then get up on a stage and say it in front of a live audience to be broadcasted to thousands of people. Like, it is just so evil. It is so hateful. Ugh, it just like makes me sick. And that is why I need you all to vote and get out to the polls, vote blue. Let's get this fucking job done. And like I said, we are wrapping up the politics there. I just needed to, give my girl her 10, to give Kelly her 10 where they are, because they showed the fuck out. They stepped the fuck up and we love to see it. Please vote blue. make sure you get to the polls before Tuesday. That being said, we are flipping gears. We are going to cut the politics talk and we're going to go into some more pop culture moments from the week that were just too pop to handle. Now, this next story is something that has been legitimately taking up so much space in my brain. I kind of teased it on my Instagram stories over the weekend because when I tell you this has been like the definition of a Roman Empire, are we still saying Roman Empire, by the way? Like, is that like an out of date thing? Am I showing my age by saying Roman Empire? Are we still doing that? Regardless, a 19-year-old woman was found cooked alive inside of a walk-in oven at Walmart. And as if that sentence alone isn't crazy enough, she was found by her mother. I know I have not stopped thinking about this story because it is fucking insane. So this mother and daughter, they were both employees at the same Walmart in Nova Scotia, and I guess they were doing a closing shift together. It was late at night, and the mother could not find the daughter anywhere. She walked around the store, she was calling her, she wasn't answering her phone, which is apparently like unusual for the daughter. I guess she's usually pretty responsive, and she finally walked over, I guess, to the bakery department, looked in the oven, and found her daughter cooked alive inside the oven. This is like, it's such a crazy thing to say and so sad and heartbreaking and like how the fuck did this happen? But the fact that her mother is the one who found her just adds such a level of sadness to the story that like you didn't even think was possible. Like it's already sad and then it just like gets kicked into high gear. So the police have put out a statement that said that the investigation is complex and involves several partner agencies. An investigation of this nature may take a significant amount of time. Now, of course, Walmart is a huge business and like a huge corporation. So there's definitely a ton of like legal things they have to do, which I understand. Obviously, like Walmart, again, huge business, but like something's up. Something is weird. Walmart has released a statement. They said that we are heartbroken and our deepest thoughts are with our associate and their family. We extend our sincerest condolences to those who are closest to them. The store will be closed until further notice, and we're also supporting our associates during this incredibly difficult time and have provided access to 24/7 virtual care and will provide online support, including grief counseling. So it does seem like Walmart is, looking out for the family and any of the employees or people who are involved within the situation, which obviously is like the least that they can do. There also was a GoFundMe that was launched and they ended up raising 194,499 Canadian dollars, which is about 140,000 US dollars. So that was to cover like the funeral expenses and everything like that, which again, the least that they could do. And I'm like very curious to see if like Walmart donated anything. I couldn't find anything in any of my research. So I mean, hopefully they're gonna come through and like help out in that sense because not only did she die while at work and like clearly unsafe work conditions because she couldn't get out of the oven, but it gets even weirder because now Walmart employees are posting about the walk-in oven that she was killed in because I guess they have these walk-in ovens like in every store that has this kind of bakery department. And not only do each of these ovens have like an escape latch inside in case this happens, like you can push a thing and it'll let you out. The doors don't close on themselves. They need to be either pulled shut or pushed shut. So either this girl got in there and like was intentionally doing this and like pulled the door shut herself and locked herself in there, or like somebody pushed her in and closed the door. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, it is very crazy. Again, they said this investigation is going to take a while, but I am like, they need to like kick the shit into high gear because the longer you wait, the easier it is for people to like manipulate their stories. They come up with ways to cover it. And like, I'm convinced that somebody at the store like didn't like this girl and like, I don't know if they like knocked her unconscious or like did something or some shady shit or like threw her into the oven. Like I think this was foul play. Like I do not think this was an accident. Something is up. And if it was an accident and if that safety latch like didn't actually let her out, like Walmart has a lawsuit fucking coming for them, but something just feels so strange. Like the way that people are posting these videos about these ovens and saying like it clearly like there is no way to get trapped in these ovens because the safety latch, like as soon as you press it, it opened and you have to pull the door closed or someone has to shut it behind you. Like something is weird. Something isn't adding up. And like, I have not stopped thinking about it. I literally am like, I need updates. So if I see any updates, I will let you guys know. This was just crazy. And like when I posted about it on my Instagram story, I expected people to respond and be like, oh my God, this is crazy. Did you see this update? Did you hear that? Every single person who swiped up on my story was like, Andrew, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, how do more people not know about this? Like, this is crazy. Also, last week when I posted about the Abercrombie and Fitch CEO, or the former CEO rather, getting arrested, so many people were like, what the fuck? I had no idea. I'm like, what niche news am I getting that everybody else is not getting? Like, what is getting catered to me, and how did I end up on this like fucked up side of TikTok or whatever? I mean, you guys know I'm not reading the news, I'm scrolling TikTok. But you what side of TikTok am I on where I am getting all of this crazy fucked up news and like nobody else knows about it? Like, I mean, I guess it's good because I can come on here and, spread the knowledge to the podcast. But like when I posted it on my story, I didn't expect every single person. And there was a lot of people swiped up and they were like, what the fuck did you just say? And I had to like send articles. I had to send TikToks. Like I was like, guys, this is dead ass. Like I'm not making this up. This is a real thing that's happening. So I had to just, spread the knowledge to the people. And it's so sad. Like this is such a heartbreaking story, especially like you go to work and you're not expecting to get fucking cooked alive. Like that is crazy. That is fucking insane. So definitely going to be watching this case with, a close eye, because I want to see what Walmart has to say. I want to know if somebody else was involved. Like something is weird, something is up. And obviously just like sending my love and condolences to any of the people affected by this, because that is such like a crazy thing to have to deal with. Ugh, so sad. Moving on from some sad news, we're gonna get happy again. We're gonna talk about some happy things because that's what we are here to do. Taylor Swift and Sabrina Carpenter, the women that you are. So if you did not see, Taylor Swift surprised her audience in New Orleans over the weekend at night 2 of the Eras Tour with Miss Sabrina Carpenter herself. She started out by singing Espresso on stage herself, and then she rang Miss Sabrina and told her how loud the audience was and how much they all loved her. And what do you know? Sabrina just happened to be 5 seconds away and was able to come out and perform with her. What a coincidence. Such a cute little, moment for the two of them, especially knowing Sabrina's history with Taylor. She'd obviously been such a fan for so long. She ended up opening for the Eras Tour. They had their whole White Horse, Coney Island moment. Like this was just like a cute situation, and also like major for Sabrina, let alone obviously performing on stage with like your idol and you're now one of your best friends. This is the only time Taylor has sang a song not of her own on the Eras Tour, which is like insane. She did sing I Miss You, I'm Sorry with Gracie back at the Cincinnati date, but like Gracie's set was canceled because of weather. Like Gracie literally couldn't go on. So it was like the least that Taylor could do was bring her out and perform a surprise song together and like give the girls what they wanted for one song. So I don't even count that because it was just like doing charity work, I feel like. This was the first time where like unprompted, nobody could have even guessed that Sabrina was going to be at the show. Like she is doing her own thing. She is like killing it on the Short and Sweet tour right now. So the fact that she was even there and like had a moment to like leave whatever state she was in and show up for Taylor and come out on stage, it was such a moment. I loved it. They sang Espresso, Is It Over Now, and a little bit of Please, Please, Please. And we just loved it. We loved to see the girls, being girls, getting together. Very cute. I loved it. And speaking about some other girls who were hanging out this weekend, Adele and Celine Dion. This story just like warmed my heart. I loved it so much. So Adele is back in Vegas for the final leg of her residency. And it's like the actual final stretch of her shows. Like I feel like it's been like the final shows for so many times, and then they get postponed. She gets sick. Like so much goes on. But officially by the end of November, this residency will be over. She's been doing this residency, I feel like, for like 2 years now, which kudos to you, girl. I wish I could have got to go, but your tickets were a little bit out of my price range. But that being said, she had a very special audience member in the crowd over the weekend. And it really was like the biggest audience member possible for the situation that she was in. If you don't know, Caesar's Palace built the Coliseum venue where Adele performs now. They built it for Celine Dion back in 2003. It was for her A New Day residency. I think it was her first of like 2 or 3 residencies that she's done at Caesar's Palace, but that stage and that venue was legitimately built for Celine Dion. So for Adele to now be performing on that stage and for Celine to be in the audience, like I cannot think of a more like rewarding or passing the torch moment for anybody. Celine Dion being at your show in general is such an honor, but when you're performing on a stage that was built for her 21 years ago and now she is in your audience and crying with you, and like it was just such like a cute, pure moment. The video of Adele walking through the crowd, you could tell at one point she like gets past a certain point and she's like looking at her security. She's like, where is she? Where is she? She like mouths it. She's like, where is she? And then she finally like locks eyes with her and she just like stops mid-song, runs over to Celine, gives her the biggest hug. They have their cute little moment. It was so pure. It was so cute. Ugh. I just loved it. It was such like it truly was like a moment that was too pop to handle. This is what I'm here for. It's what I'm here to cover. Adele did end up posting the picture of the two of them like crying in each other's arms on Instagram. She said, "I've been performing in Celine Dion's room at the Coliseum for almost 2 years now. 4 weeks ago, it was the only venue I wanted to play in Vegas because it was built for her. I have a picture of her right next to the stage that I touch every night before I walk on, and she came to my show this weekend, and it was a surprise and it was a moment. At Celine Dion, I love you so very, very much. Words will never sum up what you mean to me or what you coming to my show means, let alone how I felt seeing you back in your palace with your beautiful family. I have loved being there. It was such an honor, and Saturday night will be something I remember forever and ever. Such a full circle moment for me to be there with you. Thank you so much." And again, like I said, this is just like the ultimate passing of the torch. And just to have, I mean, Adele is such a vocalist, as is Celine, and like to have the two of them, I feel like the two of them being in the same room together was just like almost too much power. Like I feel like I might have combusted if I watched this in person. And like just again seeing Celine quite literally pass the torch to Adele, and even Adele saying there's a photo of her that she has on stage that she touches before she goes out. Like you just know how much of an honor and how much of a moment, she literally said this is a moment in her life this was. We love to see it. We loved it. The girls were out this weekend. Like the girls were just supporting each other, and that is what we need in this time in our nation. Like I said, we're not getting political again, but we love to see the girls having each other's back. Kelly and Beyoncé, Sabrina and Taylor, Adele and Celine. We love to see it. The girls are out there supporting each other, and that is what we love to see here at Too Pop to Handle. Moving on to our final moment from the week that was just too pop to handle. This is actually not too pop to handle. It's a fucking mess. And it does kind of lead us perfectly into our next segment. So that's why we are doing this now. But Liam Payne's first posthumous single is set to be released this Friday. And there are so many things wrong with this entire statement. So the song is called Do No Wrong featuring Sam Pounds. And first and foremost, like before even getting into like the details of this, it is way too soon for anybody to be releasing any music from Liam Payne. He died, it wasn't even 3 weeks ago, I don't think. Like it's literally been maybe 3 weeks. Like it has been way too soon to release anything from him. And it is just so gross that any record label would think this is what the fans want right now. This is what anybody would want. And it's even grosser when you know that Universal Music literally dropped Liam Payne from their record label like less than a week before the day that he died. They thought that his new music wasn't going to resonate with fans, and they kind of shelved it and they dropped him from the label. And now it wasn't announced that he was dropped from the record label when he passed away. It was like a later thing that came out, and I think it was just like sources close to Liam were reporting it. But let's like thinking about the news about him that came out the weeks leading up to it, now knowing this happening right before he passed away, like it just like makes the whole situation so much sadder. Of course, the news that came out leading up to it is the consequences of his own actions. Like I am not forgiving any of the things that he did in that sense. I don't even want to like bring it up or talk about it again. Like you guys know what I'm talking about, but just like knowing that was all happening, and then they dropped him from the label. He passed away, and now they are so quick to get ready to drop a new single by him. It just does not sit right with me. His family is apparently not on board with this. They are apparently like really upset by it. So there's a lot of fans online right now kind of encouraging not streaming it and not listening to it. I wasn't going to listen to it whether he was alive or dead. Just not my cup of tea. But I'm definitely not listening to it now that like with everything going on. This is just so gross. There's like further investigations and news coming out about his death. Footage has been obtained that has not been released to the media, but apparently he fainted when he fell. So he didn't like necessarily like fall off the balcony or like throw himself off so they can kind of rule out a suicide, but he fainted. And when he fell off the balcony, I think it's just like where he was standing kind of landed him where he was, unfortunately. So I guess, it is kind of a peace of mind for his family and his loved ones to know that it wasn't a suicide. It was just like a series of unfortunate events. But like the way that now they want to release this single after, it's like the family has not even gotten close to mourning yet. Like this is still such a sad, tragic event that has happened. Like this is insane. And I'm really hoping that they pull it. Like I don't know what they were expecting fans to say or think when they announced this today, but like, get a fucking grip. Like, be so fucking serious. You're gonna drop him from your label because you think his music isn't gonna resonate with fans, and now that he passed away and there's like a buzz around his name, you're gonna drop a single. Also, who is Sam Pounds? I have no idea who that is. And like, if he is on board with releasing this, if he was any friend of Liam's, like he's not. Like, clearly he is not a friend of Liam's. If he is okay with releasing whatever collab this is just such like a uncomfortable conversation to have with anybody, and anybody who thinks this is like exciting or is like on board with this, like please seek help, because this is so fucked up. It's very much giving like Amy Winehouse, how her family is still somehow wringing her dry of any money they can get from her, and she's been dead for years. It's just like, ugh, I'm glad to see that Liam's family isn't on board with this, and I'm glad to see that like people are really pushing back on this. We will see if they end up releasing it or not. I don't know, honestly. Like, I don't know what the thought process is behind this, but it's fucking disgusting no matter what. Moving right along, I feel like I'm taking you guys on a roller coaster this week. I'm going from like happy to like sad news to happy news again, back to sad news. I'm pretty sure for the rest of the show, we're in like a happy boat and we're, you know, it's positive things. We have our new music releases. We're going to talk about some misogyny within pop culture, obviously taking the side of women because that is all we do here at Too Pop to Handle. But just want to, you know, apologizing for the roller coaster of emotion I'm taking you guys on. But that is life, you know, that's what happened. But that being said, we're going to move on to our next segment within this show, which is our Drew releases, our new music releases from last week, and anything coming up this week. This past week, we had some killer releases from some killer ladies, and I'm obsessed. We are so lucky to be alive in the current state of music that we are right now, because we are getting fed so much quality content, and it has just been like a non-stop feast all year long. So let's get into it. First things first, an album that I am so excited to finally be talking about with you guys, Halsey the Great Impersonator. Now, of course, if you've been listening for a while, you know that I did get to hear this album last month. I got to go to her listening party, and I didn't want to give away too many spoilers because she did say at the listening party, she was like, try to keep things to yourself. I want everybody to have a really raw and like personal and unique experience with the album. So I told you guys like what I thought about the album, but I didn't go into too much details. But the album is out. They have, you know, they have opened Pandora's box. Let's talk about this fucking album. It's fantastic. It is incredible. It is just as good as I remember it being at the listening party. I think it is such a raw project and really shows true to who Halsey is as an artist. She is able to span so many different genres, so many different eras, so many different like vocal techniques, and just like the writing, the production, everything in this album, I absolutely love. My favorites from, so it's funny, my favorites from the listening party and my favorites from the album, now hearing it back now, are still my favorites. So Panic Attack, Dog Years, and I Never Loved You. Those are my three favorites from the listening party. Still my three favorites from the album. They are so good. Panic Attack is like, it's so good. If you have not listened to this album yet and you just want like a snippet of it, listen to Panic Attack. It is chef's kiss. It is fantastic. When she played it for us at the listening party, I turned to my friend Steph and I was like, oh, this is going to go number one in my headphones. It is so good. She also was talking about at the listening party that Death of a Spider is probably the most like raw and emotionally draining song she's ever released. And now seeing people's reactions to it and being able to listen back to it, when you're at like a listening party like that, you obviously take in the lyrics for what they are at the moment, but like it's such like the environment you're in. Like you listen to the song, Halsey talked about it, we went to the next one. Like I remember it being sad, people were crying, but I was like, I didn't remember the depth and like how sad the song was. And listening back to it now, I'm like, holy shit, this song is fucking sad. So loving this release. It is so good. Lots of, you know, murmurs online and people talking their shit. Oh, it's not doing well streaming wise. It did sell like a lot of copies, but I don't think this is an album that really matters whether it charts or not or how well it sells. Who, you know, who's rating it what. This album is so raw and real and personal to Halsey. And she also has said so many times, like she recorded this album while she was so sick and essentially thought she was like never going to release it. And if it was released, she thought that it was going to be released after she passed away because she was not sure if she was going to be here to release this album or to promote it or anything. So like the fact that she is so real and raw and just like, I thought that it was the last project I could ever record. And like, I put it out all on the table for you guys. And now like, here I am, healthy and alive, and I'm able to like get your feedback from it. Like you can really tell within all of the lyrics in each song how much of herself she put into it, because she really was like, this might be it. Like this might be the last project they ever hear from me. So I'm just going to lay it all out on the table, and it is fantastic. I am loving it. If you have not listened to it yet, definitely add it to your rotation this week. There are some heavy topics on the album. So like definitely, you know, while you're listening to it, just, you know, keep that in mind. It's a little heavy, but it is so good. And I'm not going to lie, I was honestly a little nervous that it wasn't going to live up to the expectations that I had after the listening party. And I was like, was I just like in the moment excited that I got to go to this exclusive event and it was so cool and I got to hear these songs so early? And I was like, am I telling everybody this album was so good and are they not going to like it? But listening to it all week and like over and over and seeing people's reactions to it, I'm like, all right, rest assured, it was as good as I remember it from the listening party. Fantastic album from Halsey. Speaking of fantastic albums, Miss Megan Thee Stallion. One thing about me, I love a sample, and Megan Thee Stallion is writing the masterclass textbook on sampling on Megan Act 2 between Rocksteady sampling Goodies by Ciara and Like a Freak sampling Like a G6 by Far East Movement. I am obsessed. That is Mother Thee Stallion. She is mopping the floor with these bitches and I cannot get enough. I loved Megan, the self-titled album, when it came out earlier this year. And when she announced that she was doing an act 2, I was like, what the fuck else does she have in store for us? Like, she just fed us a full course meal with this album just a few months ago, and now we're getting a full second album. And thank God she did, because it is somehow better than the first act. I am obsessed. Let alone those two songs. Can we talk about Bigger in Texas? That is a killer way to open an album. The way she opens this album, just fully talking her shit. When I heard the line where she says, I'm the youngest bitch owning her masters, bitch is old as fuck, stuck in a deal, my jaw hit the fucking floor. If you don't know, earlier this year, Megan signed like a first of its kind exclusive deal with Warner Music Group where she owns 100% of her masters, but she is getting help from Warner Music Group to distribute the music. So she has like this crazy, unique, killer, like once in a lifetime deal with Warner Music Group where, like I said, she owns 100% of her music, but they're still helping her promote it and distribute it. Like, it is incredible the fact that she is technically an independent artist, but still has this major record label helping push her music. She's won the game. Like, she is killing it. It is what she deserves. She's been through so much shit in her life. Like, this is the least that they can do for her, just like help her out in that sense. We also get her documentary this week on Thursday on Halloween, so I'm very excited for that. I'm going away this weekend, so I'm not sure if I will watch a documentary before we chat next week, but I will try. If not, whenever I watch it, I will fill you guys in on my thoughts, but very excited for that release. That's coming out soon. But yes, that is Megan Act 2. I am obsessed. Megan Thee Stallion, You Can Do No Wrong. That is Mother. I am obsessed. Speaking of mothers, Lady fucking Gaga is back, and I could not be happier. This single is so good, and I do not understand why people are not eating it up the way that they should be, because it is incredible. We finally have Dark Gaga back, and I couldn't be happier. It is fucking incredible. We're obviously talking about Disease, the first single from LG7, so let's just get into it. It's so good. It is perfect, quintessential Lady Gaga dark pop music. It is what we've been asking for years, and I just feel like there's no noise around this single, and it's honestly offensive. Like, it's upsetting to me and the girls. I don't understand. So we are finally getting the music video tonight. Actually, as I'm recording this, it's premiering in like an hour, so by the time this is out, it will be out. I'm sure it's incredible. I cannot wait to see it. But I was questioning when I was writing my outline. I was like, where is the music video? Like, how do you drop a single and not drop the music video? Like, that's just usually not how it works. Usually it's like within the same day or like the next day. We've had this single now for almost a week. It's coming out on a Wednesday. It dropped on Friday. Like, that's 5 days where we had no music video. So maybe with the music video, like maybe she'll bring some crazy visuals and it'll really hype people up to like get into this single. But if you are not listening to the single, you are missing the fuck out. I am obsessed. And if this is the path that she is taking for LG7, which it appears that she is, I am so sat. I am buckled in. My seatbelt is on. I am strapped in. Let's go full fucking throttle because, oh my God, incredible. And also, just to mention, Michael Polanski does have writing credits on this track. And we all know Michael, her fiance, is the one who said, girl, you got to get back in the studio and write a pop album. So let's all say it together. Thank you, Michael. He is who we have to thank for this new pop album from Lady Gaga. And for that, I am forever grateful for him. Moving on to our final release of the week, but we are ending with a fucking bang. It is Miss Addison Rae. Every few years, we need a new piece of media titled Aquamarine to really come up and like shake the culture and like really feed the gays. 2006, we had Sarah Paxton, JoJo, Emma Roberts with their movie Aquamarine, which like went #1 in every gay boy's heart. And now in 2024, we have Addison Rae with her single Aquamarine. I am eating it up. She is everything we need in pop music and more. I cannot get enough of this track. She is such a star. The music video is sick. She looks insane. That choreography, she is just like effortlessly cool, and she just like has that it factor that a pop girl needs, and I am eating every single piece of it up. It is Addison Rae's world and we are just living in it. I cannot get enough. It is incredible. If you are not on the Addison Rae bus already, like, I don't know what the fuck is going to take to get you on board, because you are missing out and it is about to leave the station. Like, get with it or get lost, because Addison Rae world domination is coming. And that being said, let's move on into the main topics of the show. Now, when I'm putting my outlines together and I'm trying to, find out what the main point and the main focus of the show is going to be, I always look at everything and really try to weigh all of my options. And this week, I just could not get over the blatant misogyny that I'm seeing within pop culture and like online in the media with fandoms right now. It is just like, it's been going on for centuries realistically, but the last few months and this last few week really just like, it was the straw that broke my camel's back, because I can't. And now this is very Chappell Roan heavy, and like, you guys all know my stance on her. I love the bitch. I think she is fantastic. I love the fact that she stands up for herself. I love the fact that she is so outspoken on like where she stands on things. But like, there is such a double standard in standums right now, and I'm seeing it on so many different levels. And I've had it. I'm so tired of watching these men get away with murder. They're allowed to do what they want, say what they want, act how they want. And then when a woman does it, it is like, she is a bitch. She's a cunt. She can't, she doesn't deserve fame. She can't handle it. It is so fucking crazy. So, speaking of Liam Payne, obviously not him necessarily, but the fans surrounding. So since he's passed, and obviously, a lot of us has come out about mental health, and people are, it's always the case. When somebody passes away, suddenly everybody is a mental health warrior, and everybody is like, you really have to, you never know what people are going through. You never know what people are dealing with, blah, 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 whatever. Totally agree. I could not agree more. I am the biggest advocate for mental health. I was the biggest advocate for like Chappell Roan canceling my show. I was literally supposed to see her at All Things Go. It was my anniversary present to my boyfriend to go see Chappell Roan at All Things Go. She canceled on us, and I was like, you know what? It is what it is. Like, she needs a mental health day. I get it. While everybody else was down her fucking throat, I was like, it's fine. It is what it is. Like, you need to prioritize your mental health. But like, the majority of the world was like, this is so fucked up. She is so selfish. If you can't handle the fame, get out of the kitchen. Like, it was just such a weird space to be in. And after Liam Payne passed away, over 47,000 people signed a petition calling for a new legislation called Liam's Law to protect the mental health of artists in the music industry following his death. And now, this is fantastic. This is great. I cannot agree more that people need to lay off of these music artists, lay off of these celebrities, and let them really like take the mental health time that they need. But everybody was literally like at Chappell Roan's front door with a flaming pitchfork when she canceled 2 shows because she needed some mental health time. I don't understand why suddenly, like, oh, somebody who was a known abuser and, had all of these crazy allegations coming out about him. Yes, obviously mental health is a very serious topic. And like, it is very clear that Liam Payne, when he passed, he was struggling with a lot of mental health issues. I am not downplaying that. I am not discrediting it. I think it is incredible that people are so passionate about passing new laws and, bringing things into the light of like, hey, we need to make things more accessible and like normal for people to deal with their mental health and talk about it more. Like, I am the biggest advocate for it, but it's just so crazy to see the fact that like, people were so nasty to Chappell Roan when she was like, I need a mental health day. I'm going to cancel my 2 shows. I'm sorry, but like, I need some time to myself. And then when Liam Payne dies and like all of this shit goes on with him, suddenly there's a new law that they want to sign. And like, people are, 47,000 people suddenly are signing this petition. But also like, why is nobody cares about people's mental health until the person is dead? This is a common theme that we have seen over and over and over. I mean, Amy Winehouse, I hate to bring her up again, but like, she struggled with addiction and struggled with she has such a hard life, and like, her family did not give a fuck until she was dead. And even after she died, suddenly all they care about is making money off of her music and how many movies can we make. And it's like, same thing happened with like Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston died. Suddenly everybody is talking about how, you got to look out for everyone. Robin Williams, he passes away. He's like the comedic relief of every group. He was severely depressed, and it's just so, it's heartbreaking that people need to die for people to take these things seriously, because clearly when people say that they need a mental health moment, like Chappell Roan tried to do, they're like, nope, you can't handle fame. If you can't handle it, don't be famous. Like, these are the things that I just don't understand. It is such a double-edged sword. It makes no sense to me. And it continued on through the weekend because not only are we talking about people's mental health, but we're talking about people responding to paparazzi, photographers, and just like that realm of the world being rude to celebrities. So Tom Holland, love Tom Holland, do not get me wrong. He was celebrating the launch of a non-alcoholic beer brand, and him and Zendaya were showing up to a restaurant, I believe, for the launch. They got out of the car and paparazzi swarmed Zendaya. He was able to kind of like walk through the crowd and not be affected, but everybody flocked to Zendaya, and she was truly just like swallowed by the paparazzi and fans, which is a whole problem within and of itself. Like the way people treat these celebrities when they're at an event and just like treat them like they can just like run up to them, put their cameras in their face, sign this, sign that, blah blah blah, whatever it is. It's insane. Like it's a hazard. Like Princess Diana. It is such like a hazard the way that these people treat these celebrities. But then if you keep watching the video, Tom Holland, Spider-Man himself, rushes through the crowd and like literally pulls paparazzi off of Zendaya to get her through the crowd. And like, I'm not gonna lie, it was fucking hot. Like it was so it was so hot to watch Tom Holland like grab these paparazzi and move them out of the way so he could like rescue Zendaya and get her out of the crowd of the paparazzi. But on the flip side, when Chappell Roan calls out a photographer on the red carpet, the same, literally, I think it was the day before or the same day, she's a bitch and she can't handle the fame and everyone's tired of her standing up for herself and everyone's tired of her talking and blah, 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 like she can't go anywhere without a problem. Do you guys not see the double standard that everybody is playing into? Is it just me? Like, am I crazy? Am I insane for seeing it this way? Like, and again, I am all for the way that Tom Holland went and literally like moved the paparazzi away from Zendaya to like get her out of the crowd. Like I said, it was so fucking hot. Like I literally was like, oh, is someone turn the heat up? Like I am like hot and bothered by this. It was fucking hot. But when Chappell Roan calls somebody out for being an asshole to her a few months ago and like is like, hey, just so you know, I remember that you were rude to me. You owe me an apology. What what is the difference there? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Chappell Roan attended Olvia Rodrigo's Gus World Tour Netflix premiere over the weekend. She was walking the red carpet, doing her thing. She got to one part of the photographers, hit her mark, and within seconds, she clocked some motherfucker who was apparently rude to her at a Grammys party, I believe she said. And she like got in her mark, made eye contact with them, put this smirk on her face, pointed at them, and just like walked in their direction, was like, you were so rude to me at the Grammys party. You owe me an apology. And now I understand out of context, just like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, what are you doing? But we don't know what happened at the Grammys party. And you know that like people just scream foul things at these people all night long to get the shot that they want. And we also know that Chappell is not somebody who was going to just like take somebody's shit and like let it roll off her back. Like this bitch, she's going to remember and she's not going to give you the respect back. And I don't think that's wrong. If somebody is disrespectful to you, you're not going to give them respect back. You're not going to pose for them. You're not going to, work for them and like help them out. I don't get why people are so up in arms over her making this comment to them. She didn't like cause a scene. She didn't yell at them. She walked over. She like stopped the paparazzi for a second. She walked over and said, hey, I remember you were really rude to me. I don't appreciate that. That's not how you speak to people. I want an apology. I don't see what's wrong with it. I genuinely don't see why people are so up in arms over this. I think it's because we don't see celebrities really take the reins and like stand up for themselves the way that Chappell has been doing over the past few months, that it's so jarring and just like people are so used to seeing people like let things happen and people talk shit about you and this part of the game and it's part of the industry. But I honestly really admire the way Chappell does not let people talk shit about her, and she does not let fans overstep boundaries. She doesn't let photographers treat her as just like a piece of meat on the carpet. Like I think everybody could kind of like learn from this and be like, hey, maybe stop treating these people on the carpet like they're just like a fucking dollar sign to you, which essentially I know that they are, but like could we maybe not dehumanize them so much and just like be respectful people? Like I just the way that people spin things and the way that people like overreact to these situations where somebody, when you boil it down, all she's doing is standing up for herself. It's just like, I don't know, rubs me the wrong way. I don't understand. And again, people are praising Tom Holland for the way that he like stopped the paparazzi in front of Zendaya, but when Chappell Roan stands up for herself, it's an issue. Again, it goes back to like the mental health thing when Chappell Roan in the situation, when she wants the day off and she's, has a mental health day, people say she's ungrateful and she doesn't know how to be famous. But when Liam Payne dies, everybody suddenly is like, celebrities need to take care of their mental health. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It just is like, I don't know. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. And like not for nothing. This is not the first time a woman has like stood up to the paparazzi. I mean, Miley Cyrus literally has like flipped out in the paparazzi so many times. There was the one time somebody was like, "Miley, are you pregnant?" She was like, "No, I'm sick, you bitch." There was the one time she went after the paparazzi because they were like getting too close to Tish, her mom, and she like literally pushed them off of her. Like, I don't know what it is about Chappell. Like, people just like they have this like vendetta against her because I guess because they think she's like a newer pop girl, she shouldn't be acting like this. But like, whether you're a new pop girl or not, like you should not. If you feel disrespected, stand the fuck up for yourself. And like, I don't know. I'm gonna leave it at that because I feel like I could talk to a wall about this because I feel like a lot of people again don't agree with me. But that is fine. I am not here to be agreed with. I'm here to talk about the shit that I want to because again, it's my show, not yours. That being said, let's move into our next segment of the show, our TV recap. We are recapping Real Housewives of New York and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. RHONY, it's going to be a quick recap. There's not really too much to break down. The really big storyline this season, like what people are really tuning in for, is the whole Brynn and Uba of it all. So the episode, excuse me, starts. We are still at Aaron's Hampton's house, which, side note, I'm loving the way that like these few episodes while they're at Aaron's Hampton's house is so focused on making sure the girls are eating. Cause obviously last season, the whole drama of the season was like they had no food at Erin's house. She didn't feed them. Everybody was hungry. And it was like literally the plot line of the entire season with the fact that like everybody just wanted to eat while they were at Erin's house. So they are getting private chefs. They are doing a Shabbat dinner. They are going out to eat. Like these girls are fed. They are full. They are getting their calorie intakes for the day. Like they are good to go this trip. But like I said, Uba and Brynn are just like they're like oil and water this season. They will not mix. So obviously Uba and Brynn have been fighting on and off. I feel like every single episode so far this season. Last week we saw the whole breakfast argument where Uba was pretty much standing up for Sai and defending her to Brynn and fighting with her. Meanwhile, Sai was like inside minding her own business. And then this episode we see Sai kind of giving Brynn the cold shoulder. She's like walking into Erin's room, talking to Erin and like completely disregarding Brynn. While they're at tennis, she like completely walks past Brynn and just like sits down on the other side of the bench and like doesn't say anything to her. Like, Sai is definitely giving the cold shoulder to Brynn, which is a little weird because they did make amends at the beginning of the Hamptons trip, but then she's still talking about Brynn to Uba, which then led to the breakfast fight. Like, it's just very weird the way these girls like they like gloss over things and then like they're clearly not resolved. So they just like keep giving them the cold shoulder. I don't know. It's a very weird tactic, but they all do it to each other. So I guess that's just like housewife nature. But Uba and Brynn, they like I can't keep up anymore. They're up, they're down, they're on, they're off. Like, it is so confusing. So more like I said, the morning before we see Uba and Brynn arguing. They seem to be fine. They're like laughing at dinner. They're all having a conversation. Like, it doesn't seem awkward. Erin and Brynn end up pulling that prank with the cockroach and Jenna's dessert. Everybody laughs. I mean, Uba does end up throwing up from it, but like, is in good spirits. And then we find out later in the episode that Erin pulled Uba and Brynn aside and was like, can you guys please make up? Like, can you guys be good? They made up the night before off camera. Like, they were good to go. Brynn woke up that morning, like, thinking they were all in good spirits, all good. Like, things were peachy keen. And then Uba just, like, jumps back down her throat and is like, come to the breakfast table with this like Jekyll and Hyde shit where she like come to the table so like happy-go-lucky, ready to like have breakfast with everybody, and then out of nowhere she just like flips the script and her and Brynn are fighting again. And it is just like, I don't know how these girls keep up because I can't even keep up and I'm watching it every week. Like, I can't imagine living in this and being like, wait, are we friends? Are we not? Are we good? It's just like, it's exhausting. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I can't. I don't understand. And this seems to be what's going to carry us through the entire season. Like I've been saying, they foreshadowed to Uba and Brynn having that huge blowout fight towards the end of the season. So we know this is just going to continue to keep going on all season long. And quite frankly, I'm over it. I'm so tired of this storyline. It's like either make up and coexist together, or one of you has to like not come around and like not film or something, because like it is exhausting trying to keep up with who's friends with who's doing what. Uba and Brynn, they're like friends one day, they love each other, then they're crying because they hate each other. Like, it is so much to keep up with. I cannot. We also see Raquel opened up a little bit to the girls this episode, and I am loving Raquel. I think she is such a good addition to the show. But her story about her dad, it was really heartbreaking. You can tell that it really upsets her even all these years later. I thought it was very real and vulnerable of her to open up to Bryn as personally as she did. She really like shed, she was like an onion. She had all these layers. She was like going in on all of these stories, talking about how she didn't want her dad's last name, but she didn't want this last name. Like it was like it was a very deep story to be telling somebody who you aren't necessarily like that close with. But I guess she's getting really like well equipped with the girls already, which we love to see. I'm really loving Raquel. Like I said, like I think she's really a cool addition, and she just like let alone like being like a good and cool addition, like she's just cool. Like I feel like she has this like je ne sais quoi about her. I don't know. I'm really into her vibe. I'm really, really liking her on this season. And then another plot line that we kind of keep having since last season carrying into this is Jessel and this like baby dilemma. I don't know what it's gonna take for her to finally convince Pavitt to have this third baby, but like it's honestly like it's sad to watch her want this baby so bad and like be paying so much to be having her eggs frozen every single month, and Pavitt is just like not budging on it. This is definitely like it's definitely an interesting conversation for them to be having on camera because it's such a personal and close thing to have. But obviously, it's like you sign up for reality TV, that's what you're faced with. But I'm like, I don't know what the solution is going to be. Like, obviously, Jessel wants this baby so bad, and Pavitt wants nothing to do with the third child. But like, this isn't just like deciding what you want for dinner every night. It's literally a child. Like, if this is what Jessel wants and Pavitt doesn't want it, like, how is this gonna play into their marriage? Like, you know what I mean? I'm obviously not trying to like wish bad things on anything. Like, I love Jessel. I want nothing but good things for her. And like, I'm a team Jessel. Like, I want her to have I want her to have a little Jessel running around with her. So I'm very curious to see like how that pans out with her and Pavitt because you know, if one spouse wants a third kid and one doesn't, you know, it could lead to some unfortunate events. But that being said, we're gonna shift gears and go over to Salt Lake City and talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Now, this season, these girls they are giving us a run for our fucking money. So this whole episode, they are celebrating Angie's 25th wedding anniversary, which is no other than Greek mafia themed, which is definitely an interesting choice as a wedding anniversary party theme. But I guess when you're Angie K, you can do whatever you want. And realistically, Angie K can do no wrong in my eyes. So it is what it is. I'll eat it up regardless. So a lot goes down at this party, and like everybody's invited, which is a shocker because of like the current state of everybody's relationship with Angie, but everybody gets the invite and a lot goes down. But one of the main things is obviously Brittany shows up with this new guy. She has some new arm candy. And I mean, Mary Cosby walking up to her and saying, "Hi, Jared," when it's not Jared is fucking iconic. Mary is comedic gold. Like, she is so funny. She's crazy. She is batshit crazy, but she is one of the funniest people on TV, period. She cracks me the fuck up. So Brittany shows up with this new man. Him and Heather obviously have some history, and Heather has, you know, seen some sides of him that you wouldn't just see with a normal friend. So clearly there's some history there. I don't think it's going to be any drama or anything, but I just love that Heather was very much open about being like, yep, you know, we're now Eskimo sisters if you really boil it down. But Brittany shows up with her new man, and Jared shows up, which is just like the cherry on top of the fucking cake. Like, Brittany is trying so hard to be in this new era and be with this new guy and is like clearly trying to get over Jared. And who the fuck walks into the party but Jared, which I I think I speak for everybody when I say we're all team fuck Jared. That being said, it was such a bitch move of Justin, Whitney's husband, to text him and be like, "Hey, Brittany's here with a new guy if you want to come show up." Such a bitch fucking move. Like, it's one thing if the wives do it, like the housewives, but like you're gonna sit there and meddle in housewife drama and like invite this guy over to this party that's not even your party and just like stir the pot. It just seemed like such like a low blow and a bitch move from Justin. I don't know. It really put a bad taste in my mouth for Justin. Did not like it. And I felt bad for Brittany. Like, she showed up to this party, like ready to be with her friends, ready to celebrate. She's trying to like turn this new leaf. Was she probably going to run back to Jared eventually? Yeah, like, of course, let's be real. But like, let her have her moment. Let her have this new arm candy and like do her thing. But that being said, she obviously had a full meltdown during the party, and like, It is what it is. I really hope she writes Jared off officially. Like, he is so manipulative and just like not good for her. He just was like, he's immature. He like doesn't know what he wants. I'm so over him in this whole like story arc. And I just hope she finally like seals the deal and like gets a new man. And I don't know. We will see as the season goes on. But that was Brittany for the week. Bronwyn is stirring the pot with Angie and Heather and just like, really adding fuel to the fire. But I kind of live for Bronwyn, I'm not gonna lie. Like, yes, she is bringing the drama, but like one thing about Bronwyn is like she's going to cause drama, but it's kind of with like good reason. It's kind of warranted, which maybe you can call her the villain for it, but she's also like justifying it with kind of like solid reasoning. So she goes over to Angie and lets her know that Heather told Lisa what Angie said about her parenting. So we all remember, obviously, the first few episodes when Heather came after Bronwyn because she was talking shit about Whitney to Heather and Lisa, and then was like hanging out with Whitney and like completely going against the grain of what she said to Heather and Lisa. So Heather attacked Bronwyn. Now Bronwyn obviously is like, oh, you want to play that game, bitch? Well, you were talking shit about Lisa to Angie and then told Lisa what Angie said. So two can play at that game. And that's what I mean when I say she kind of justifies the shit stirring and the drama, because she's like, well, two can tango. Let's fucking go. So Bronwyn goes over to Angie and lets Angie know that Heather told Lisa everything that Angie said about Lisa's parenting and all of the, I don't let my kids stay up till 2 a.m. and kind of, again, coming for their parenting, which I'm very over using parenting as like the weapon of this season. I feel like Angie and Lisa are just trying to like one up each other and like just keep going for these low blows about parenting. And I think it's just like, it's something that should be completely off limits. I've said it a few times. I feel like on the podcast or in my recaps, I'm just like the parenting conversation. Like, I feel like that is something that should not be brought up and brought to the table during these fights, but alas, they keep bringing it up, so I guess it is what it is. So Angie then decides it is time to go confront Heather and find out why she has these loose lips to Lisa and is spreading this this gossip that Angie told her in confidence. So Bronwyn and Heather start going at it together and they're talking about it. Angie and Heather have their moment. Like, everyone is like the Spider-Man meme. They're all pointing at each other. Everybody's talking shit about each other. Like, at the end of the day, they're all being shit stirrers. They're all spreading drama. They're all adding fuel to the fire. Like, it is what it is, I guess. But on the other side of the room, there's some bigger drama going on because Whitney decides to confront Lisa about how she apparently knows that Lisa was behind this Instagram account that was leaking the information about Whitney selling Alibaba jewelry, which, whether it's true or not, it's definitely shitty for someone to like go after somebody's business like that. Like, I would say, like, obviously parenting is like top of the list, but going after somebody's business is like another low blow. It's like a little bit higher of a blow than parenting, but it is shitty, especially when these women are supposed to be friends and like lifting each other up. And Lisa goes buck fucking wild. Before Whitney can even finish her statement, she is on the phone with a private investigator and she's like, let's go the distance. People are talking shit about me. They're starting rumors. They're saying lies about me. I want to go full throttle and just like run this investigation. So it definitely doesn't look great in Lisa's light. But I also think Lisa, just like after dealing with everything last season with Reality Von Tease and like Lisa just like, she's like, I'm not dealing with this internet drama. I'm not dealing with fake accounts. Like, absolutely the fuck not. Nipping it in the butt from the jump, and you think it's just gonna like end at that and go on from there, but no, of course not. Lisa has to take it to the next level, run over to Justin, Whitney's husband, and say, how do you deal with your wife who's just constantly lying? Which obviously Justin is going to stand up for his wife. He goes after Lisa. Then John, Lisa's husband, has to jump in, and we end up with this cliffhanger of Justin and John fighting with each other at this party. It's a lot. It's a web. And if you're not watching Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, this is all gibberish to you, and I apologize, but like the girls who watch, like, this is crazy. They are literally, I don't even know who is friends at this point. I don't know if any of the girls are actually good. Like, who is friends with who? And even like Angie and Mary, excuse me, are just like, are they friends? Are they not? Like, there's a lot going on, I feel like, and it is a giant spider web of like a clusterfuck of drama, and I'm loving it. I can't lie. Like, I do love it. Like, it is so interesting. Like, and that's what like kind of does interest me, the fact that like with RHONY, I'm kind of over Brynn and Uba having this drama, but I'm eating up the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City drama. Like, I don't, maybe because like the Uba and Brynn drama like does get squashed and like glazed over and then brought back up again, and like we really don't know exactly what the issue is between Brynn and Uba. It's kind of just like ongoing of like Uba saying Brynn, like, you know, she's always stirring the pot and she is full of drama, but like I can't recall Brynn doing something specifically to Uba. I think Uba's just like tired of the way that Brynn handles situations and she's like done with her shit. But I think with the Housewives of Salt Lake City it's interesting to watch because we're seeing all of this unfold. Like we know exactly what Angie said to Heather about Lisa, and we know exactly what Heather is relaying back to Lisa, like what made the cut, what didn't. And then for Bronwyn to just like she's a newbie and she is just like on the fucking scene unleashing the beast. I kind of live like, I don't know. That being said, that is our TV recap for the week. And that brings us to our final segment of the week, our yes and our mess of the week. My yes being something I am loving and my mess being something I am not loving. And we always kick things off with a high note over here. So we are starting with my yes. And my yes this week is just like the most New York City thing that could have possibly happened. Timothée Chalamet crashed the Timothée Chalamet lookalike contest in Washington Square Park over the weekend. And I love this story. I think it's just so quintessential New York. And it's incredible. So Washington Square Park, if you don't know, is just like the epicenter of these weird viral moments. There was like a few months ago, there was a guy who was going to eat an entire container of Costco cheese balls. They do like weird band pop-ups and like they do the weirdest shit in Washington Square Park, and it's just like it's what makes New York New York. You know, it's like you see these flyers of these events going on and you're just like, yeah, I guess it is what it is, and you just like go on with your day. So there was this Timothée Chalamet lookalike contest in the park over the weekend, and over 300 people showed up, which ended up leading to the organizer of the event getting arrested because he didn't have a permit for this event to take place. So the organizer gets arrested, 300 people show up. There are so many people who look like Timothée Chalamet, which if you don't live in New York, honestly, the fact that there were so many people who look like Timothée Chalamet isn't that surprising because you could walk down the street and I could find 3 people who could win the Timothée Chalamet lookalike contest right now. Like, it's not the craziest thing that there were so many Timothée Chalamet lookalikes. I think the bigger factor in all of this is the fact that Timothée Chalamet himself showed up. Like, it's just like there's so many layers to the story, and he had the opportunity to do the funniest thing possible, and he did it. And for that, I applaud you, Timmy. Kudos to you. And our mess for the week, I hate to make it political again, but we're going to get political, but it's obviously in defense of my girl, Beyoncé. Amber fucking Rose, you dumb bitch. Not only is she like fully endorsing Donald Trump and like as a black woman, as a mother, like to be in support of Donald Trump, like you have to have multiple screws loose. But then she takes it as far as commenting on the Shade Room's post about Beyonce's speech and says she wants to be me so bad, literally took my whole speech, which it's just false. So Amber Rose spoke about women's rights, and Beyonce also spoke about women's rights, and that was the only thing that was similar about the two speeches. Like, there was nothing in common. It was not the same words spoken. It was about the same thing, but completely different wording. So I don't know what the fuck she was talking about. So she was asked about it, and she said, I was trolling. I did not think it would be international news. And to that, I just say, you're lying. Like, you're lying through your teeth. Not only are you commenting on a speech of Beyonce on a very public Shade account, literally probably the biggest one. It was on literally the Shade Room. It's during like the most heated election. You already have all eyes on you because you're a black woman supporting Trump, which is just like the biggest oxymoron you can think of. And then you're going to go ahead and comment on Beyonce while she's endorsing the opposing candidate and say, oh, I didn't think it was going to make the news. Get fucking real. Like, be so fucking serious. So when you look at the speeches side to side, there was literally nothing in common in the words. Beyonce said, I am not here as a celebrity. I am not here as a politician. I'm here as a mother. And Amber Rose said, the best chance we have to give our babies a better life is to elect Donald Trump president of the United States. Those two statements could not be any further. And what those two candidates, both Kamala and Donald Trump, stand for within this topic and reproductive rights and women's rights could not be more polar opposites. So for Amber Rose to come on record and be like, Beyonce wants to beat me so bad, she's copying my speech, she's stepping in my footsteps, you fucking wish. You wish Beyonce would step anywhere near your trash fucking shoot because, girl, get fucked. Like, get serious. Yeah. You're looking for clicks. You're looking for clicks. You're looking for people to talk about it. And here I am, giving you what you want. It's just like, it's so fucking stupid. I can't. And obviously Beyonce is like, has no cares in the world regarding Amber Rose. Like, she probably doesn't even like a blip in her world, but it's just like, why do you have to take the step and like comment on the Shade Room's post? Like, that alone is just like putting you on such a lower level than Beyonce ever would be. I don't know. That being said, we have made it to the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode of Too Pop to Handle. If you liked what you heard and you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you give us a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment down below. If you're listening to us as a podcast, make sure you leave me a 5-star rating, leave me a review. It really helps the show so much if you leave a rating. If you haven't yet, please go ahead and give me a 5-star rating. I say it every single week, but if everybody watching this or listening to this shares it with one friend, I will double in listeners. It is simple math. If this hour-long podcast was not enough for you, you can head over to my Substack. It is toopoptohandle.substack.com and subscribe to Popping In, my newsletter where I share more moments from the week that were just too pop to handle every single week between episodes. I also share some other fun pop culture things there, so there's always something fun going on over on my Substack. Of course, you can follow me on social media. I am at Too Pop to Handle across all platforms. If you'd like to follow me, I am at Andrew Nucatola across all platforms. And with that, I will catch you guys next week. Remember, it is on Thursday next week because I cannot record on election day. Like, I will be too distracted. There will be too much going on. I will not be able to form a cohesive sentence, and I already blabber and yap and get distracted enough on this show. I can't do it on election day. So hopefully next week's episode, I am talking to you while we have a women president, but that's only going to happen if we get out to the polls and if we fucking vote. So get to the polls, vote for Kamala, vote blue. Let's do this. Let's nominate a woman of color into office and get this orange piece of shit out of our fucking lives for good. And with that, I will catch you guys next week. Bye.